India and UK are bound by strong ties of history and culture. India's multifaceted bilateral relationship with the UK has only intensified over the period of time. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his British counterpart Boris Johnson today pushed for closing the negotiations for a free trade agreement by the end of the year and also agreed on a new and expanded bilateral defense and security partnership. Prime Minister Johnson is visiting India on his long pending trip that was delayed due to the pandemic last year. India-UK ties are beacon in the stormy seas, says British Prime Minister Johnson. Many people say that Boris Johnson is an Indophile, but is he the man to reboot India-UK relations? Ambassador Mukherjee, what are your thoughts about his visit to India?
I think that Prime Minister Boris Johnson's visit to India is historic for many reasons, one of which is that it demonstrates that the UK-India partnership has come of age. Why do I say it? If you look at the body language of the two prime ministers, if you look at the way Prime Minister Boris Johnson spoke about how it is possible to be British and Indian. So he gave the example of the Land Rover, which is British and Indian. Then he went to a factory in Gujarat, which he said is British and Indian. And then he said that all this demonstrates that UK and India have a win-win partnership, particularly on business and economic matters, but also a very important strategic partnership. I would agree with that assessment. And I would also say that post-Brexit, the United Kingdom realizes that it needs partners and allies more than ever before, particularly economic partners, because its economy, like most big economies, took a beating after the pandemic and also post-Brexit. And therefore, when he came to India, he first went to Gujarat. He met the Indian business with whom he has great interest. And don't forget that there are very important Indian business diaspora in UK, which have also helped the United Kingdom to overcome the difficult economic situation post-Brexit. So all in all, to answer your question, I think it is one of the most significant visits of a British Prime Minister, and the kind of response that he got from our Prime Minister, the kind of ceremonial welcome that we gave him in the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan, the way in which he responded at the joint press conference between the two demonstrates that yes, he is not only an Indophile, he understands India, he loves India, and he has an excellent rapport with Prime Minister Modi. So this bodes very well for the India-UK partnership.
As you rightly said that Mr. Johnson enjoys a special rapport with the Indian Prime Minister. Boris Johnson has actually held Prime Minister Modi as firecracker and an absolute political phenomenon who enjoys a personal rapport with him. The relationship between Modi and Johnson matters a lot between the relationship of two countries, as do the government visions and objectives. In the case of UK and India, both the countries are well aligned. The two prime ministers last time met during the United Nations Climate Change Conference in November 2021. And, when introducing Prime Minister Modi to the audience, Johnson described him as understanding the potential of renewable energy better than anyone and sharing our agenda. So the Prime Minister that time had jointly announced 3 initiatives that will see the two countries partner across projects of renewable energy grids, sustainable finance, and disaster relief. You think this visit has brought momentum to those agenda of the climate change?
Yes, indeed, because Prime Minister Johnson has accepted the invitation earlier to join the International Solar Summit, which is the Prime Minister Modi's initiative. He later on was invited to join what we are doing for renewable energy, development of hydrogen, etc. And in every way, as far as climate change is concerned, India and UK are on the same page. So I would say that climate change and how to combat climate change is an area on which India would greatly benefit from British technology and transfer of technology and aid and FDI flows. And Britain would benefit from the manner in which we have harnessed solar energy. We have gone very far ahead, in fact, in some parts of renewable energy. So here again is a partnership that can be very well developed in the years to come.
Absolutely. India, the biggest, and the UK, one of the oldest global democracies, have good diplomatic relations on the world front. And we also have seen India-UK relationship getting it elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership during the India-UK virtual summit, which was held between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Johnson May last year. And at the summit, both countries adopted a 10-year roadmap to extend ties in the key areas of trade and economy, defense and security, climate change, and people-to-people connection, among others. Negotiations over a free trade agreement, which is predicted to boost bilateral trade by up to £28 billion annually by 2035, to a review of the India-UK Roadmap 2030, and intensifying cooperation across the full spectrum of bilateral ties, were the agenda for this visit. You think this visit has achieved the trade relationship to a new level?
Yes, indeed. The free trade agreement is one of the important partial takeaways of the visit, because Prime Minister Modi said that India would do its best to ensure a free trade agreement by the end of the year. Prime Minister Boris Johnson was a little more optimistic, and he said, we will have the free trade agreement by the end of the year. The reason is that as far as the low-hanging fruit is concerned, which includes mobility, etc., that has all been worked out. There are some areas in which we would not be in a position to make major concessions, because those are areas of strength for both economies. So those important areas are being currently discussed and negotiated. But I would say that given the fact that the United Kingdom really needs India as its economic partner, I think we can safely say that by the end of the year, we should be able to have an FTA, given the fact that we were able to have an excellent FTA with Australia, which is very generous. The Australians have given us a lot, and we would naturally expect generosity on the part of the UK, and this is being worked out. So I think the FTA is a done deal by the end of the year, and the FTA demonstrates again that the UK is now willing to compromise on something it had held out for a long time, which is mobility, what we call Mode 4 of the WTO. And the agreement on mobility is a very important development, because this was a major constraint when we were negotiating the BTIA with the EU when UK was a member of the EU. So this demonstrates that indeed the UK is very keen on an FTA, and I think we should be able to wrap it up. And this heralds a new era in trade relationship, and also it would increase FTA flows from both sides, because let's not forget that India is a major investor in the British economy. Indian FDI flows into UK are enormous. We have also purchased real estate and big companies in the UK. So this is a partnership based on equality between the two. We have come a very long way from 1947. We have an economy which in a few years' time will be stronger than the British economy. And indeed, the FTA will be mutually beneficial and is a very welcome development.
Absolutely. These two economies signing an FTA will benefit both the countries. In their wide-ranging talks, both prime ministers vowed to give fresh momentum to overall ties and review progress made in the implementation of the Roadmap 2030 that listed ambitious targets for deeper collaboration in diverse sectors. But there are some issues which are still to be resolved. For example, Britain remains one of the handful countries denied the ease of e-visa travel to India, while India is on the short list of requiring visas for transit, retrospective tax issues for British companies, and discussion on Kashmir in the UK Parliament, as well as rise of Sikh separatists and pro-Khalistan protests in UK remains irritant between two countries. We have many economic offenders who have taken shelter in London. So these are the issues which Indian government would like to discuss with the British Prime Minister. You think anything of that nature happened?
Well, actually, I don't think any of these issues are discussed at the level of head of state and government. They are normally discussed at the senior official level, and if required, brought up to the level of ministers. But yes, you're absolutely right. They are major irritants. The reason why the e-visa has not been given to the UK is because they have a large number of UK citizens of Pakistani origin, Mirpuri residents also, Mirpuri origin, and these are on our blacklist for travel. So it would not be possible for us to give them e-visa in the manner in which we have given to others. We've had a pretty good relationship with the Conservatives, who are much more sensitive to India's internal security challenges, and therefore, whether it is the Mirpuri constituency, people of Pakistani origin who are trying to indulge in activities that are inimical to Indian national security, or, as you said, Khalistanis who are there, these are issues which we normally are able to handle much easier when the Conservatives are in power. As far as the criminals who are holed up in UK, who have looted our exchequer and impoverished thousands of Indian tax holders here. It is indeed unfortunate that we haven't yet been able to have them extradited. But one can understand that the United Kingdom is a country based on rule of law, and we have to go through the legal process, which is precisely what we are doing. If it seems long and laborious, that is the way it is for everyone. But I think that we are very soon reaching the end of the tunnel for both, and I think that very soon they would run out of all appeals. They have the right to have recourse to these appeals, and once it's rejected, then we would be in a position to have them extradited.
One area where we saw collaboration between two countries and two leaders who spoke about it is the defense cooperation. We have seen defense cooperation growing fast, most visibly when the UK carrier Strike Group visited India last November. A co-creation of technology and manufacturing partnership that can meet not just the needs of India but also to be exported to other countries is the right aim for this defense cooperation. And there seems to be some positive things emerging, like India and UK have established an electric propulsion capability partnership that will bring two navies closer as part of India-UK roadmap. What do you think India and UK can do together about India's indigenous combat air programs? UK Prime Minister Johnson had said that they will support India in achieving this self-sufficiency. How do you think the both countries can come together in this area?
Well, there was an important meeting with our Raksha Mantri, and Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced some very important takeaways. The British have agreed to transfer of military technology, which means that they would soon become a major defense supplier. This is very much in line with our own quest to diversify our military suppliers so that we are not dependent on just one or two suppliers, because you well know the kind of complications that has given rise to in the recent past. The other issue is that Prime Minister Boris Johnson has offered open export licenses, and this is of great importance to us because it will enable us to import from UK very sensitive technology that is required by our armed forces for the defense of our borders and also in the Indo-Pacific, which was discussed between the two sides and between our two prime ministers.
Thank you so much for your time, Ambassador Mukherjee.
Thank you very much.